Welcome to today's Lunch and Learn at Work session titled The Importance of Physical Activity. This program is brought to you by Get Moving, Get Healthy New Jersey Workforce and funded by the New Jersey Prevention Network. It's based on the original PowerPoint created by Dr. Karen Ensley. What about poor nutrition? What happens when people aren't eating a healthy diet? Well, we can certainly see it in the statistics. The problem of overweight and obesity in our country is overwhelming. Would you believe that over 30% of kids ages 2 to 19 are overweight or obese? When you break that down, almost 17% of them are obese, and almost 15% of them are overweight. These issues lead to unhealthy lifestyles in adulthood as well. There are some other problems that are related. Some children are undernourished and hungry. We know that over 22% of the children in our country live in homes without sufficient food. Let's take a look at New Jersey statistics. In our state, 24% of adults are obese and 38% are overweight. That's an overwhelming amount of adults in our state that are suffering from health-related issues. When it comes to children and adolescents ages 10 to 17, over 10% are obese and 31% are overweight. If you break it down and take a look at low-income children, you'll find that children ages 2 to 5, 18% of them are obese. And of the states reporting at this time, based on the 2009 statistics, New Jersey had the highest rate for children at that age. We also know that the obesity rates for boys and girls are pretty much the same. However, Mexican and African American rates are the highest. And the hospital costs are higher for obesity for children. And we do find that the income does make a difference. Kids below 130% of the poverty level are twice as likely to be overweight, and kids above 100%, 30% of the poverty level, 8%. These numbers are just ridiculous. There are several health effects that are a result of childhood obesity, such as asthma, type 2 diabetes, high blood pressure, sleep apnea, low self-esteem, and the likelihood to consume alcohol and drugs. And about 50% of obese kids will become obese adults someday and continue to suffer. Physical activity is something we all must incorporate in our lives to help prevent becoming overweight and obese. There is physical activity sessions in the classroom and in schools, and we need to spend more time doing that. In recent years, we've seen a bit of a decrease in physical activity at schools. We're working to reverse that trend and to have more time spent on physical activity, while at the same time, computer time has increased. So we know that kids are spending more time on computers and doing video games, a little bit less time on TV in more recent years. But that amount of time being sedentary is really what contributes to their health problems. What parents and children are doing is not spending enough time together. And when they do spend time together, they are very often sedentary activities. We need to reverse that trend and spend more time together and doing more physical activity. One of the keys is to limit what we call screen time. Screen time is time that is spent on the TV, playing video games, using the computer, and even now, perhaps using a smartphone. Screen time contributes to obesity for obvious reasons because people are less active. They are more sedentary. One of the things we need to do is also avoid eating or snacking while watching TV or working on the computer because we start to eat in a little bit more of a mindless fashion when that happens because we're not paying attention to what we're eating or how quickly we're consuming foods, especially such as snacks. How much physical activity do kids need? There's been a lot of controversy over this over recent years, and we know that children need at least 60 minutes or more of physical activity every day. And some of that time should be devoted to vigorously intense activity, something that's aerobic, that increases the heart rate for the children. Participating in sports, for example, would be an aerobic activity. Running around and playing in the neighborhood would also be aerobic activity. They should also participate in muscle strengthening activities about 3 times a week. Activities where they're doing some type of bending, stretching, and working their legs, hips, back, abdomen, chest, shoulders, and arms. They also need to be doing some bone strengthening activities. And this would be an activity that would be an impact activity like walking or running or jumping. Youth should be encouraged to engage in physical activities appropriate for their age and that are fun and have a lot of variety included. Each day, we must have activity of at least 60 minutes for children. 10 minutes at a time or more would be the best. Walking for 30 minutes, for example, at a rate of about 3.5 miles per hour uses 140 calories. Hiking for 30 minutes uses 185 calories. So you can see that hiking may be more intense and more strenuous, therefore using more calories. Bicycling at less than 10 miles per hour uses 145 calories in 30 minutes. But if children are biking at more than 10 miles per hour, they would be using 295 calories in that same 30-minute time period. If they play basketball, for example, for 30 minutes, then they would be using about 220 calories. So, again, this is a more vigorous activity, and they're more likely to burn up some of those calories. Swimming is a very vigorous activity, and in 30 minutes' time, a child would be using 255 calories. Walking up the stairs burns 5 times more calories than riding in an elevator. That sounds like a great idea. So, why do we need to keep active? Because we know it helps our heart health. It helps us to increase our bone density. And it's very important that physical activity helps to decrease our level of stress, our body's way of coping with stress in our everyday lives. It also helps us to get better quality sleep. We can increase our flexibility and balance and help maintain a healthy body weight and also help protect against diabetes. These are all such great reasons to be physically active. So, what do we need? Adults need 30 minutes a day of physical activity. Kids need 60 minutes or more of physical activity a day. And we can break down that amount of physical activity and the intensity into moderate and vigorous. Moderate causes light sweating and an increase in heart rate and breathing, but vigorous activity causes heavy sweating and a larger increase in breathing and heart rate. We do suggest that you take the time to wear a pedometer and aim for about 10,000 steps a day. You should always consult with your doctor, though, before beginning any new physical activity. What can we do? We can start a walking group and we can take short walking breaks throughout the day. I find this helps me tremendously when I'm sitting at the computer, as I am now, in between sessions that I'm recording or conference calls, to get up and move around. Perhaps that's the time when I'll talk on the phone. Do some bending and stretching. It makes me feel so much better for my next task for the day. Of course, we encourage people to park further away from their store or their workplace so that they can get a few more extra steps in their day, and to walk or take bike trips, but simple ones. Less than a mile to start with is great. You can always take the stairs, and you can even avoid drive-throughs. You can walk in the mall if the weather isn't good. But most of all, you want to turn off that TV, get off the couch, and go outside and play with the kids and the dogs. Take a walk when your children are participating in their sports. And if you're like me, you like to walk while you're on the telephone. What a great way to do two things at one time. Be active with your family and think about planning active family vacations where you're hiking or swimming or walking, maybe visiting a historic attraction in the area, or taking a look at the lighthouses in our state, for example. Encourage the kids to walk to school if it's a safe thing to do, and walk with them. Then you can increase your steps for both your children and yourself. Encourage them to participate in sports and extracurricular activities. Have fun doing this too. That's the important thing to do. Most importantly, you've got to have fun with your family. It makes exercise seem like it's just part of our day. Kids enjoy it. They love participating in activities with their family. And parents enjoy it as well. So get up off that couch and get active. Thank you for participating in today's Lunch and Learn session. We hope you will participate in additional sessions that we have offered on our website. Have a nice day.